Today I fucked up when I shut down my young coworker's advances. Alright, Reddit. This particular screw-up happened last night, and I'm currently at my desk feeling like I'm just waiting for a bomb to go off. Look, I'm just a regular guy. 32 years old, married to a woman who's way out of my league, and our life is simple and good. I like it that way. I come to work, I do my job, I go home. The last thing I want or need is drama. About a month ago, we hired a new girl. She's 18, right out of school, and full of that bubbly energy I vaguely remember having. For some reason, she's decided I'm her target. At first I figured she was just friendly, but it's gotten to a point where I can't ignore it. It's been things like 1. Finding little hearts drawn on my notepads if I leave them in the kitchen. 2. The constant staring. I'll be working and get that feeling someone's watching me, and sure enough, it's her. She just blushes when I look up. 3. Some loudmouth in sales jokingly called her my work wife, and she just ran with it. Started signing notes to me with WW. Just mortifying. For the real kicker was when I was talking with a buddy here about wanting kids with my wife, and Kay, who was pretending not to listen, chirps in with, "I've always thought I'd make a great stepmom." What do you even say to that? My strategy, which in hindsight was pretty dumb, was to just be aggressively married. I'd bring my wife up constantly, hoping she'd get the message. My wife and I saw that movie, my wife packs my lunch, etc. I thought I was setting a clear boundary. I was not. So, this brings us to the fuck up last night. It's late, and it's just the two of us left in the office finishing a project. The place is dead quiet. She brings me a coffee I didn't ask for, and does that thing where her fingers linger on mine for way too long when she hands it to me. I pulled my hand away, and she gets this really serious look and asks, "Are you really happy?" And that was it. My patience, which I usually have a lot of, just hit zero. All the weeks of awkwardness and cringing just boiled over. I dropped the polite nice guy act, and I was just blunt. I looked her right in the eye and said, "My wife is my world." That's not an appropriate question for work, and it's not up for discussion. I expected her to get embarrassed, maybe stammer an apology. But that's not what happened. It was like I flipped a switch. The smile, the bubbly personality, all of it just vanished. Her face went completely blank. She just stared at me for a second, then said okay in this flat, dead voice. The rest of the night was dead silent. It was the most uncomfortable hour of my entire career. Today, it's like I'm sitting next to a stranger. A really angry stranger. She won't look at me, but the vibe is so hostile it's making my skin crawl. I'm no longer dealing with a kid with a crush. I'm dealing with a pissed-off woman I have to work with every single day. My big fuck-up was thinking that being direct would solve the problem. But I think I just made it 1,000 times worse. Now I'm just sitting here, replaying it in my head, convinced she's going to march down to HR and claim I was the one hitting on her. Too long did not read. A young coworker had a very obvious and inappropriate crush on me. I tried ignoring it and dropping hints, but last night I finally got blunt and shut her down. Now her personality has done a complete 180. She's giving me a hostile silent treatment, and I'm terrified I poked a bear and she's going to try and get me fired. Brother, you should have gone to HR weeks ago. Hi OP, I'm an HR director and you are walking through a field of landmines right now. This can possibly lose you your job if she decides to play games in the future. 1. Email, not call. Email HR tonight if possible. Let them know about this, and tell them that you do not want to make a formal complaint, but you want to at the minimum get this on record. 2. Let Kay know that her comments are making you uncomfortable and to please stop. Only say that do not go into any details or anything. Don't explain how you are happily married or anything. Just say that. 3. She continues, then go to HR and make a formal complaint. Trust me, you think you are being the nice guy right now, but it's going to bite you on the ass in the future. I've handled many situations like this, and they get ugly. As others have said, anyone who is willing to just plow through all your very obvious, "I am married" comments is very dangerous in a professional work setting. Document it now. And you didn't fuck it up. There was likely nothing short of that outburst that would have gotten her to stop. Anything that offered even a chance would have failed to stop the behavior. Also, I hope you have been keeping your wife up to date on the situation. When you have to explain something like this, as if it came just out of the blue, it looks bad. Certainly, if you haven't, now is the time to explain it. Before something bad happens. Dude, get to HR. Now. And if you haven't yet, for God's sake tell your wife. Document the hell out of everything, Send it to a personal email that can act as a date timestamp. Email all of it to HR to get it on record. Sell your house and move out of the country, winky face. Sure. This account is 17 days old. Likely another bot. Today I fucked up got denied at airport for a trip we planned for holiday. My wife has a long time wish to visit Jeju Island in Korea. Told me several times but postponed always as I did not have off time from work. Finally we have decided to plan a trip for 5 days starting today, Saturday. Tickets have been bought, hotels has been booked, all good. We do not live in Korea, so it will be a trip abroad. And for the context, my wife and I holding different passports. Visiting Korea is visa-free to me up to 90 days, at least on paper, while it requires load of document from her. But if you visit only Jeju Island, only island, is visa-free to her too. She told me she needs to fill an online arrival card 3 days prior, and all will be done. I checked for myself very thoroughly, as I knew I do not need visa. And after a Google search and doing a skim reading our consulate paper there, okay, still visa-free, and need to fill an online form 3 days prior. So we arrived airport 3 a.m. in the morning, 2.5 hour prior to flight, went straight up checking, wait about 20 minutes in the queue. When it is our turn, they quickly gave boarding card to my wife, but mine stalled there. They called several people, and those people asked me ETA online application. I thought it is the e-arrival card that we have filled, but no. It is something you need to do if you are from a visa-free country. So they normally requires visa from her, difficult to get, but if only go that island, it is visa-free. On the other hand, they do not require visa from me to visit at all Korea, wherever I want to visit there, but even visit this island, I need to complete an entry application, like e-visa. Shit, I thought if it is visa-free, it should be free to enter with passport. We left the counter, sit on the floor, I switch on my laptop, did this application in like 10 minutes, paid $10, and what? Result page says, your application status is under assessment. Airline officer told me, it is likely to be approved next day, not now. So everything gone to garbage. I suggested my wife to take the flight by herself, and next day I will join if can get this paper. She said no. Unbelievable that we had to return home. I felt so ashamed. 5 a.m. we have arrived back home. Just get back on my laptop to check this detailed, and see what. My application is approved already. So it costs me 1K, and shit tension with my wife. I still can't understand how could I did not bother to go details about requirements when I got tickets. Too long did not read. I have not checked correctly visa requirements prior to flight, therefore denied at airport. My wife had to cancel her travel plans. Those e-travel authorization things get approved ridiculously quickly in like 95% of cases. It's always worth waiting around to see if it comes through, and you can still get on your flight, or even the next flight out. Going home right away was the real today I fucked up here. Just get new tickets. I promise it's worth saving the years of hatred from your wife. You didn't do online check-in. When I took JetBlue a few months ago to go to Jamaica, when I did my online check-in they said I had to fill out Jamaica's customs form online prior to the flight and provided the link. Surprised an airline wouldn't do that for Korea as well. Too long did not read. I have not checked correctly visa requirements prior to flight, therefore denied at airport. My wife had to cancel her travel plans. Life pro tip, always triple check to see what you need to do to enter a different country on your current passport. For example, I have been to the USA a few times, and every time all I had to do was fill in a visa card on the plane to gain entry. That was a while ago now though, and these days I would have to apply for a ESTA before I even got on the plane if I wanted to visit the USA. For any tourism-related reason. I'm not sure why the airline officer told you that it would be approved the next day. It's quite quick. Doesn't even take 10 minutes. Happened to me last time I went to Korea with my mom, but I entered my passport number on the ETA incorrectly by one number, and the flight attendants just had me redo it on my phone right then and there, because it was an immediate approval. A true today I fucked up. I am so sorry, everything got so messed around. Today I fucked up by telling my 4-year-old the truth and traumatizing him. This happened a while ago. Backstory, there was a girl that passed away in an accident in the next town over. She was in middle school and her name was Amanda. Fake name in case someone who knows her sees this, because I don't want to upset anyone. The day her photo was released in the news, my son was watching over my shoulder as I was reading the news, and he asked who she is. I always try to tell my kids the truth when they ask me questions, but in an age-appropriate way. I gently explained who she was and what happened to her, and that she passed away. He asked several questions, and I answered the best I could. Now here is where I messed up. He asked me what her name was, and I told him it was Amanda. I told him not to talk to his friend at school about it, because it could make them sad since some young children don't do well with those kinds of topics. He asked if his teachers knew about it, and I said probably so. The next day, I warned his teacher that we had the conversation just in case it came up, so she was prepared in the event that it did. He goes to a very small preschool, and I have a good relationship with all his teachers. Later that day, I got a message from his teacher. Here is where I realized my mistake. She sent me a photo of one of his classmates that I recognized, but I didn't know her name. She has the same general color and style of hair as the girl that passed away. Teacher says, "You do know that it wasn't our Amanda that passed away, right?" My heart dropped. I didn't realize that my son had a classmate had the same name as the girl from the accident. So my son went to school and was devastated because he thought his friend passed away. Coincidentally, she wasn't there that day. Teacher wasn't upset and was quickly able to rectify the situation and his understanding of it. When I picked him up that afternoon, I explained again that his friend Amanda is fine and that there can be more than one person with the same name. It took him asking for a few times if she was really okay before everything went back to normal. But I felt awful for traumatizing my son thinking his friend was gone. Too long did not read. I told my son a child passed away and he believed it was his friend and he was traumatized. Honestly kinda wholesome he cared so much ABT his friend like yes sad moment, but shows how big his heart is. Honestly he's prob gonna laugh ABT this when he's older like, remember when I thought Amanda died and she just had the flu? Oof, that's such an easy mistake to make. You were being honest and thoughtful. It just happened to collide with the name coincidence. Kids take things literally, so of course his brain filled in the blanks. The important part is you caught it, cleared it up, and his teacher had your back. Don't beat yourself up. You didn't traumatize him for life. You just gave him a rough day and a new lesson about names. Imagine if his friend Amanda was at school. My mom told me you were dead would be much funnier and yet a whole lot worse. This might have a benefit in the long run, might help him appreciate people and prepare him for the inevitably of the loss of someone close later in life. Children finding out multiple people have the same name is funny. My friend's daughter told me. There are two people called Elizabeth, the Queen and me. This was before Queen Liz passed away. She didn't realize there are lots of other people called Elizabeth as well. Today I fucked up by not knowing the importance of deodorant until much later in life. This is technically 30 years worth of today I fucked up growing up. I came from a family who was very loving and nurturing. However, when it came time to having the necessary talks like proper hygiene or the sex talk, anything that is deemed uncomfortable, my parents didn't touch those topics. It's either they didn't know they had to have the talk, or just knew and didn't know how to approach it. As I grew older, I didn't fully understand the uses of deodorant. I thought it was something you applied when you start sweating. I had no idea it's something you apply before you go out anywhere, doesn't matter if you just took a shower, that it's a must to combat body odor. I had no reason to research its uses because I didn't know, nor did I have anyone come up to me to tell me I had body odor issues. Fast forward to 2022, I can't remember how, but that's when I learned the former, that it has to be applied before you go anywhere. It's not for when you're sweating, it for before you sweat, and before you go out. I was understandably ashamed and embarrassed that I did not know this. I went a good 30+ years of my life not using deodorant and stinking up a storm, making it uncomfortable for friends and co-workers to be around me. I was talking to my close friend for 20+ years, and she told me when I worked with her years back, I had bad BO issues, and I was the talk of the workplace. Which wasn't surprising, since not using deodorant would cause that. I wish people didn't get offended by others telling them little self-improvement tips. Because had someone told me back in 2008 about my BO issues, and using deodorant, I would have been able to fix it long before, 14 years back. I think the problem is that we assume that the person is actively choosing not to use it, when it could easily be like me, and they simply didn't know that it's an important practice. Too long did not read. By using deodorant 30+ years late in life, and nearly killing friends and co-workers with my BO prior to this. Edit 1. Good news is that I realized I started using quality cologne like Dior Sauvage around 2016, so until 2022 at least my odor issues were as bad. It's crazy that no one in 30 years talked to you about this. I'm shocked that none of your friends or HR ever brought it up. I don't know if it was a generation thing, but my dad didn't wear deodorant, he wore an undershirt to soak up the sweat. He also worked in an office and showered every night. I can't honestly say he smelled bad very often. My mom did wear deodorant and offered it to us when we hit puberty. I think part of the problem in people not telling others things like this is that often they come across the wrong way. Insulting more than just "do you know?" You also never know when someone will be sensitive about a topic like that and take it wrong even if you're gentle about broaching the topic. It makes it a minefield to try to navigate when you really just want to be helpful. We were taught about body odor and cleaning in health class in my middle school back in the late 90s. Even sent us all home with a care package that included deodorant, floss, toothbrushes, and bar soap. A few years later, we had another health class to talk about sex ed. This was a New England public school. It highlights the importance of funding and supporting public schools and allowing them to talk about important things, even if they're awkward or uncomfortable. I'm very thankful I grew up where I did and got a well-rounded education by sensible people. Deodorant is different to antiperspirant, by the way. Deodorant tries to neutralize or cover the smell of BO, and antiperspirant tries to stop you sweating in the first place. Many products are designed to do both. Do you know about soap opie?